It's the Black and White NBA show. Jaydee,
hello and welcome, man.
How's the knee?
It's been better. I mean, I've had my MRI scan this week, and it's a sprain. It's a level 1 though, so it's not too bad.
Broken my hand.
How's the hand?
Broken my hand, but I'm playing through it. Unlike Chris Paul
and Steph Curry.
Hey, so injuries first. I was kind of gutted about when Curry went down. I feel like the NBA needs him. There was a little bit less hype about the playoffs.
I don't know. I feel like the basketball purists are really still appreciating how good this playoff series has been. But at the same time, I can understand from the neutrals and those that are just tuning in for the excitement, Steph is a big miss.
We just spent the last 9 months, along with you guys, talking about the Warriors' 73-win record.
And we're still going to talk about this team.
Yeah. I think we should go back to Chris Paul and the Clippers, because Blake Griffin is also going to miss the rest of the playoff series.
I feel like those two are a bigger miss to their respective teams than Steph is to obviously the Golden State Warriors.
Agreed.
I mean, Steph is still a major miss in that team, and they're going to need him.
See what you're doing? I asked you a question about Chris Paul, and you're already talking about Steph.
But I know, but he's infectious, isn't he? But they're going to need him going into the semi-finals, because it's going to be a harder tell. It's going to be a harder game. But the eyes are still on the Warriors, as you love to turn around and talk about.
Hey, but the Clippers, every season, Doc Rivers has been the coach and the GM, I'll point out. Something's gone wrong every single season, and when Chris Paul went out, you watched that injury with his hand that got caught on the back of a player. But it didn't look like it was a break.
But it's those innocuous ones that are always the worst ones. The ones that you can't quite see what the damage is straight away. Yeah. They're sometimes the worst ones, I feel, especially with any sporting arena.
And he obviously runs that team. Blake Griffin goes down with a thigh injury that's bothered him. He missed like 40 games. He punched someone in the face as well. But he missed games through his thigh. And that team has such a weak bench. You're talking about depth for the show. Jamal Crawford, 6th man. Paul Pierce isn't great, but that's one guy, right? So the Clippers,
Wesley Johnson.
The Clippers, he's a 3-point shooter now and again. They lose their best 2 players. DeAndre and JJ Redick are left. JJ Redick's been a little bit injured in this series.
So the big question I'll ask you is, so where did the Clippers go from here? Do they revamp their do they start again with their whole roster, or do they just try and build on what they have? Because they've been almost there 3 seasons now.
It's every single year we tick it along. We say, is it the Clippers' year? They have to make a statement. And they look like they would have beaten the Blazers maybe in 6 or 7. No one expected much from Portland this season, but then they lose their best 2 players. I think we have to shake it up now, because Rivers, for me, is one of the most overrated coaches in the league.
Wow. It's a big statement.
Chris Paul.
That's someone that's gone to 3 semi-finals of a Western Conference, which has been very competitive for the last 5 years.
But the Clippers are supposed to get past the first round. They've got 3 All-Stars, like you say. But Blake Griffin, he's got the most value. So if you're going to look to trade someone, you're going to get more back for Blake, because he's younger than the other 2. And he's got more potential. A team will want him.
But you can't turn around and trade, arguably, what is your franchise now.
See what you've got. See what's offered to you.
But for Blake, okay, let's break down, obviously, what's been an up and down year for Blake this year. But last year, if we think about the fact that he was almost averaging a triple-double in the playoffs. Now, that, for me, is a player that can turn up in the big occasions, can handle the pressure, and can turn around and lead a team. Are you going to turn around and trade away?
Tell me he'd lead a team when he went bang to his assistant coach. But that's not a leader.
I'm not saying it is. He's still young. He's still learning from his mistakes. He's still new to the NBA.
I don't know.
Respectively, but at the same time, you're not going to turn around and sell Blake Griffin. Come on.
He's been in the league enough seasons now where he should be at a level where he's mature enough to lead a team. Chris Paul.
So you would trade away a guy that's averaging a triple-double in the playoffs?
If we got good picks for him, because the Clippers team have had this big three for a few seasons now. They're not getting any younger. I want to see the Clippers be able to go through another cycle of success and not be the franchise they're used to being. While the neighbours, the Lakers, are always usually successful, they've been bad, and the Clippers still can't dominate the city. Anyway, Mark Cuban, can I have some of your money, please?
For all that don't know, Mark Cuban obviously owns the Dallas Mavericks and has made some abrasive comments this week towards
his whole career. Outspoken.
Oklahoma Thunder star players, we'll say. Mark Cuban came out and turned around and said that the Oklahoma Thunder only have one superstar.
One superstar, and the other one's an all-star.
Well, I mean, it depends what do you define a superstar?
This is the conversation I wanted to have with you. We should be clear that he said Kevin Durant was the superstar and Russell Westbrook was the all-star.
Hold up. Let me handle this. Yeah?
Hey.
Let me handle this. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are both, I'd say, top 5 players in the league.
Take it, Mark. I agree.
Top 5 players in the league.
And if you're so back to your question. These are the parameters I say for a superstar in the NBA. You have a shoe sponsor.
Okay.
You're big off the court like Carmelo Anthony.
Okay.
You can help your team win more, not just with scoring. Steph Curry. Titles is the other one.
Okay.
Westbrook is a top 10 player in the league. If you're not a superstar in
I'd
top
say
5 or top 10,
yeah. Okay.
So who's in your top 5? Who's ahead of Russell Westbrook?
Ahead of Russell Westbrook, I would turn around and say is Steph. LeBron, Kevin Durant, and arguably Chris Paul. That's about it.
Chris Paul? What about Kawhi?
I mean, obviously Kawhi is impressive and incredibly defensively. For me, if you're asking me if I had a choice between Russell and Kawhi, I'm just saying, you're talking about someone that equaled Magic Johnson's record for triple doubles in a season.
He had 18 in one season.
That is...
And his averages this year have gone way up. And if you were going to ask someone, who would you rather watch, Westbrook or Durant? Westbrook plays with a ferocity and anger, and a good anger that I've never seen before.
In the intensity that he has for whether he's on the court for 20 minutes or 48 minutes is just unbelievable.
Hey, so Mark Cuban's just stirring it up here. I think we both agreed
it was bitter.
Superstars.
Let's be real, it was bitter.
Well, that whole series was a little bit tense.
From the whole Charlie Villanova situation when they were
getting involved. I can't wait for the next one, the next series, the semi-finals. The Thunder move on to play the Spurs.
Okay.
Can you imagine Timmy D getting between that little dance?
It's just the veterans versus the young bloods, isn't it? Really and truly. You're talking about the Timmy D's and the Aldridge versus the Durants and the Westbrooks.
And Ginobili, who I like to say is bold patches.
He's getting that bigger.
Just going to be one big bold patch soon. But anyway, seriously, this series, who do you like?
Well, as most of you will know, I put my tips on the Spurs and everything. So I'm going to stick with my guns and with some man and say the Spurs come through in 7.
Okay.
In 7.
You can check out our Jaydee and my predictions on our Facebook page, facebook.com/NBA black and white. We get complicated. They did that in the regular season against the Thunder, where they would say, all right, Westbrook and Durant are going to score 80 between them maximum. We can live with that because we can outscore the others, and that's it, the team ball. Anyway, gossip, I'll leave this to the big man.
Well, as you know, we like to keep our ears to the street in the NBA and what's happening in and around the league. And perfect with his album drop, Drake has been involving himself and using his ambassador role as...
Ambassador.
But what interests me is Drake's tweet on Instagram or Instagram post afterwards. I mean, have you seen it?
I have. You need to stop getting involved.
Do you think that Paul George should have taken that shot? Do you think that Paul George should have taken that shot?
He's the man. He's already got like what, nearly
39
at the stage that took over that game. I feel like Paul George doesn't have that fight in him though. He hasn't got the attitude of someone who can take over like a Westbrook. He's never going to be that guy. He's almost not mean enough. But Drake, for a global ambassador, by the way, just a shout out to Drake about the London game in January. The Raptors were here. Where were you?
He's also turned around and he's trying to get the MLS team as well. Just completely off topic. He's trying to get the MLS team because he was trying to get Jermaine Defoe to move to the MLS team. Yeah. But Drake is really trying to put Toronto on the map. But
I just don't like when he's behind the inbounder, passing the ball in, getting up in the face.
When they went to the officials to turn around and review the decision, Drake is sitting there on the monitor looking over, making sure.
He's got the power.
Mate, I mean, he's enjoying his position and why not?
He knows everyone.
Views from the 6, why not? Well, you know, it's that time of the year, the awards start flooding in every single week and we've got Coach of the Year that's come up. Steve Kerr, how do you feel?
How do I feel? Well, my hand hurts. Hey.
Do you feel like he deserves it?
Look, it's difficult because Steve Kerr missed more than half the season with the back problems, but then you've got to go into the human side of this. His comeback was fantastic. He was always around the league. He was in so much pain, he was getting all these headaches from the spinal injuries he was having that caused issues elsewhere in his body. He's come back, and you look at Luke Walton's wins. He led them to 39-4 record before Kerr came back. But that's Kerr's system. This is because of Steve Kerr that they are this good. Now, what I would have liked to have seen is Terry Stotts for Portland, who finished second in the voting. He wins the award because that team lost all the players and they're now about to reach the second round. Last thing, Jaydee, the floor is yours. James Harden.
Oh, well, you know I have a strong affiliation for James Harden, especially offensively. I think he's an elite scorer. I think he's an incredible basketball player. And I feel like when he has the basketball in his hand, there isn't many better players to watch and enjoy in the league. The problem is defensively and distributing the basketball with James Harden. He sometimes falls into, I don't know if it's a mental disarray or a lapse of concentration, but he really does hurt his teammates and his team so much. And we've seen it now. The shutters are down, all the media training's gone out of the window and the season's finished. So on the finals press conference, you'll see James Harden, he'll come out and he'll be real. And he's turned around and said he does not feel like this franchise is strong enough to be competing where they should be competing. And he's identifying certain players. He didn't want to say names because obviously
didn't want to say me.
No snitching, but at the same time, you can see it with the bench, you can see it with Dwight Howard, you can see it with the whole impact and the enthusiasm on the team.
Check out this picture that we're running over the screen right now. This was the reaction when James Harden, although when he hit the shot there was 2 seconds left, so there's still a chance for the Warriors. James Harden hit this shot to win the game for the Rockets pretty much. Look at the bench. Dwight Howard,
There's just a lack of love.
His face is,
and
we've got to play another game.
And I'm not trying to compare it to the Warriors. I'm not trying to compare it to the Warriors. But if I just look at when Steph wasn't playing in Game 5, when Brandon Rush was making buckets, when Sean Livingston, Ian Clark, when they're making buckets, the whole bench is going crazy. They're going crazy.
Barbosa.
Steph is not even dressed up, and
Steph
he is going crazy.
Mad. He's got his blazers on.
He's the biggest cheerleader for his teammate.
I've got one more point on this. There's been so many great scorers in NBA history.
Yeah, of course.
There have not been so many great players in NBA history.
That's the difference.
Until he can share the basketball and learn that he has to do that to win.
That's why he has the title of an elite scorer, but doesn't have the title of an elite player. Tweet us. Make sure you get involved, and we want to involve yourselves as well.
Questions and answers.
So questions, answers, live feeds. We're there for you to please you. So, Max.
Hey. Good to see you.
Pleasure, man.
Good luck with the knee.
As always, man. Oh, sorry, man. Your hand.